Hello, hello. Thank you all. Glad to be here. Hello, hello. Glad to be here with my coffee. The wonderful coffee mug that everybody loves. Welcome to the Mr. Phelps Show. Welcome you all. Today's going to be a fun day where we talk about Beowulf and Grendel. So let's get started. Beowulf. Long, long ago in the day, when people sat around the fire, specifically the Anglo-Saxons, they sat around the fire and told stories about a warrior, about a hero, about someone who could defeat evil, someone named Beowulf. Now this was a real long time ago, so we're talking 5th or 6th century England, okay? And this is where the story Beowulf was told, okay? The Anglo-Saxons, if you hadn't known, the Anglo-Saxons are a bunch of warring tribes from all over Europe that came and settled into England, and many of them were Germanic. So you have like the Angles, the Saxons, the Jutes. Those are kind of three of the big ones, and then some other similar tribes. They all came and started settling in England, and they all had their own territories, and they all fought for their territories, for the lands, and they didn't necessarily get along with each other, but they weren't enemies either. But the point is, they all had their own lands, they all had their own dialects of Old English, and then they intermingled and kind of created our language. It's a mess at how English was created, and in fact, the English language is very much Germanic. It started out from the German language family, believe it or not. And over the years and years, it became more of what English is today. But that took hundreds and thousands of years to really develop the language as we know it today. But way back in the day, you had a bunch of tribes that all came. They all spoke their own languages, all spoke their own dialects, and they kind of intermingled and created this Old English language. And English itself is very much Germanic, as I said. In fact, I'm going to play you the Lord's Prayer so you can listen to it in Old English and then try to compare it to what it really sounds like in our language. And you're going to notice a couple words you might pick out, but for the most part, it's very unrelated. You're going to find out that you don't know many of the words, and the spelling even looks very weird because it just is so Germanic that the language is almost not even the English we know today. It's amazing how that has changed. So if you look at the English periods, we start with Old English, which is the time of Beowulf, when stories like Beowulf were told around fires. They weren't even published into books because books weren't even thought of. They didn't even have the printing press yet. It was just, I'm going to tell you this story, and this is how the story is going to go. And they talked about stories of warriors, legends, and things like that. Those were big because they were a warring people. A lot of them were Vikings who fought and conquered lands. And stories about fighters were, and heroes were, everything to them. any case, it started with the Old English period, and then we gradually move into Middle English when we first see English start to come up on its own as a language. You had the Norman invasion, and then you start seeing a guy named Chaucer who came and wrote the Canterbury Tales, which, by the way, I have another video on if you want to watch it. The Canterbury Tales started to develop in the Middle English period, and then you move on to the early modern English period where you see Shakespeare, and then finally the English that we know today. So all of these languages developed just from the Germanic languages that came from these tribes that settled. So they first started the language, and then it eventually developed over years and years through different invasions, through different dialects, into the language we know today. And Beowulf is an important piece because it shows us how the language has evolved over so many times over the years. So we're going to take a quick look at it. Let's listen to the Lord's Prayer in Old English, and then we'll give some more insight into Beowulf.
Halli Fader, thu theon heavenum erdest, je weerthad woldres dreme. Su thinem werkem halgad, nomen nitha bernum. Thu nergend were. Cume thin riche wide, an thin radfast wila, a rared an de rodres grove, each thonan rumra fulden. Sule as tu daia, dom fastne blad, glaf userne, helpend were. Thona sin galen, so fast metod. Ne lat usich kostnunga, knusan to suithe, ac thuas freldom gif, fulcha waldend, from ufele jahwam, to widon fera.
So that was interesting, hearing the Lord's Prayer in Old English. So you know now how the language was very different from the language we have today. So knowing that, it was very hard to understand Beowulf. And one of the things that makes the text so interesting is that first it was told orally, and then it was written down by monks, and then it was translated into modern English. So a lot of the story has kind of changed over time, if you should say, or there's different interpretations that were mixed in. And we don't actually know who actually wrote Beowulf. We don't know where the original story technically started. We only have what has been historically changed over time with the language. So Beowulf is a perfect text to understand the language, because you see this, you see that it has gradually changed over the years. So it was first told by the fires, around fires, by warriors. It was then written down by Christian monks, and then it was then translated from then on into what we have today. What's also very unique about Beowulf is, yes, we don't know the author, but also that it's very multivocal. And what I mean by multivocal is simply that you have ideas of paganism and Christianity intertwined in the text. Okay, and this has to do with the English language changing over time and cultures changing over time. When the Anglo-Saxons were around, they had very many pagan views. Okay, they had a lot of pagan views when they were around, and that's where the story originated from. But then you have the monks who are Christian, who wrote down the story that was told, and they Christianized it. And so if you read Beowulf, you have a mix of these Christian and pagan values. Beowulf is a character himself who is multivocal. Although he talks about fighting for God, and that God has willed him to be a fighter, he is very much arrogant, and he is very much pagan in his views, where he wants treasure, being very materialistic, where he wants to fight. He's much of a fighter, and he brags about fighting, which is a pagan view that they appreciated at that time. So those are the two biggest ones, wanting treasure and bragging about fighting. Those are two big things that show paganism. But then again, he's Christian because he talks about, be good over evil. So, however you look at it, that's one way to look at it. So it's very much multivocal as a text. So that's something you have to keep in mind when you read it. that Beowulf is a multivocal character, and that the text is composed of both pagan views and Christian views. Very unique, if you ask me. I'm trying to get the record of cup sips in this episode. Let's see if I make it there. You know, sometimes I lose my train of thought and I just start talking, but other times I can kind of pick it up and drink it. So, coffee. Good stuff. Anyway, so now we kind of have a background for Beowulf. So now let me tell you the story. Okay, so that's all the background info about how the story originated, about why it's important to study the language. Now let me tell you about Beowulf himself. Beowulf is a warrior, a superhuman warrior, often known as a hero, however you interpret it, who is coming to defeat an evil demon named Grendel. Okay, and how the story goes is, you know, Beowulf is a hero. He comes to the land of the Danes. Grendel has been in the mead hall, which is called Herat, terrorizing everybody there, eating people, destroying people. He's just this big demon and monster that really isn't too pictured, but he's very powerful, and he's destroying people and eating them and destroying everything. And Beowulf is really this one arrogant warrior who comes into this foreign land and says, "Hey Danes, I'm one of the Geats from a farther land. I'm going to come and I'm going to defeat that monster Grendel." And so the story starts. And we see Beowulf go through a series of battles, from Grendel's to Grendel's mother to a dragon. And in each of these cases, he's a powerful warrior, but we do see near the end where his power comes in jeopardy, and we see that he's not really an everlasting warrior as everybody thought him out to be. But in any case, it's Beowulf. He's here to save the day, and that's kind of what the story's about. And that's what our focus is today. You know, understanding the complexities of language in this text, but also understanding Beowulf and the idea of heroism, and how he is considered a hero, and how he battles Grendel and shows this hero that the Anglo-Saxons so valued at that time. So, without further ado, we're going to go into the next part where, you know, I got an interview with Beowulf coming up later on. I also will have a surprise visitor coming before then, I think, or at some point. We'll have to see when he comes. And, you know, we got some, that's the main parts of the day. We're going to interview Beowulf, see where he is. We have a special visitor, and we're going to get a workout section for Beowulf to see how he trains and becomes a strong, muscular hero. So it's all going to be good fun. I mean, it's great fun. People are probably asking me, how can you take such a strange text, which is actually an epic poem, by the way. It really is an epic poem. How you got a poem out of something verbal and, you know, is written down from oral, I guess it makes sense, but it's just, it's very complex text with so many paradoxes in it that makes it unique and interesting to learn about. But, yeah, we're gonna look at that text and go further. So, without further ado, we learned about Old English, all those Germanic symbols you didn't know, and you probably found it weird how the languages were juxtaposed. You're thinking words are no fun, you boldly oppose, but get your seatbelts on, because it's time for a show. Dun dun dun, Lil Phelps is back, he interposed, faster than the wind blows, his words bulldoze like Spitfire goes, he's got prose bringing vocab to life, it's all disclosed. His fire is so sharp, like an Anglo-Saxon dagger. In Turnessine much, it was splatter. They were war-hungry scavengers who obtruded their challengers. They brought pagan views and a lot of swagger and came to Britain fighting battles that mattered where different tribes scattered. In the end, no one really rose up the linguistic ladder. It was interregnum, with everyone having a different chatter. You could say that the Roman invasion wasn't one that had mastered, because even after all the tribes, the reign was shattered. England had so many different voices that it became fractured. It all started with Stonehenge because no one really knows what to comprehend. Was it a celestial event or a place of requiem? We're still asking these questions because we don't know the intent. One thing for sure is that England was never quiescent. Just around the bend, the different tribes became a trend. Celts, Jutes, and Anglo-Saxons, they were a blend. No one was extruded. They might not have been friends, but they made amends and stayed in England for years on end. They developed a rapprochement where English was spawned. In the world they lived in, their Celtic languages didn't drag on. It was like one tribe ran against another, passing the baton until they met in propinquity thereon. And the truth is, nothing's faster than these lyrics I've drawn. Like England's history, they can run on and on and on. Yes, it looks like an abstruse mess, each tribe under stress with different dialects that you'd never guess. But they came together like pieces in chess. They acquiesced, creating the English language we know so best. As for the others, the rest, the Celtic languages became unrequited, no longer expressed, but the English language transgressed, becoming the one that most impressed. Except for the one, the only, the best. Is it a bird? Is it a plane? No, it's LP, Lil Phelps, out of the West, bringing your vocab words to the test. So before we get involved and we interview Beowulf, I'm going to show you about our recreational activity of the day, fencing. So here we go. Alright everyone, welcome to fencing. We're going to practice some fencing today for our recreational activity. So you hold the sword in your strong hand. For me, that's my right hand. You have your other hand kind of free. And the first thing you do is jab, alright? Jab, 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 jab. Practice jabbing. Jab, 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 jab. Alright? So after you do the whole jabbing exercises, you also need to know how to deflect. Okay? Deflect, 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 deflect. So if somebody comes at you with a sword, you got to go boom, boom, and block their sword, okay? The jabbing is to attack mode. The deflecting is putting your guard up, protecting yourself. Alright? So then you want to put it all together. You go, alright? Put it all together and then you become an expert fighter, like Beowulf. So you deflect, jab, deflect, alright? And that's your fencing lesson for today. So go out, practice some fencing. And you can become as strong as Beowulf. Huh? What's that? I hear some kind of like gargling. I hear some roaring. I mean, this is really strange. I'm kind of getting scared. I feel like it's getting cold in here. I better have some more coffee. This is really weird. I mean, this noise is getting a little out of hand. I mean, more coffee. I'm getting scared here. Kind of getting scared. What? Ah! What is that? Everybody, can I have your attention, please? There seems to be an altercation in the mead hall. Welcome to Herat. This used to be the spot for music and games, and the feast we got sounds like fun, don't it not? Unfortunately, there's no good plot that's stirring because the place rots with an evil bully that's a rot. That's the epithet for Grendel, the monster that sought. I left it to my kinsmen. They were fighters who fought, but this monster is silent, deadly, and fraught. A night-walking peripatetic, who would have thought? We tried to set parameters, get him out of Herat, but this monster keeps coming back to tie the knots. A swoop with his hands, my men got caught. He's like a kid stealing candy from a store that he never bought. These fine warriors really gave him all that they got, but it wasn't enough. No, it's not. Once the monster comes, he's non-stop, no longer this onslaught ephemeral at any cost. But one thing that's for sure is the afterthought. I'm sick of writing epitaphs for all the fallen men I got. If we can't stop him, this mead hall I might boycott. As much as I love this place, it's become a reckless paradox, where evil spreads like an anathema in every peripheral corner of the lot. I've been waiting on a hero who's been fated. With the epitome of strength, it's been long outdated. They talk of a paragon warrior who will keep this monster baited, make him crawl back to his hell, where he will be crated, make him feel 1,000 times more hated. They tell us that a hero of this paradigm is non-existent, overrated, because no warrior can spread so much altruism. He'll never be slated for an eponymous novel, millennium dated. The thought fathomed his fate, berated, an antithesis that is often debated. Man, I feel so deflated. I can't take it anymore. I'm frustrated. This war doesn't stop. This mead hall will be vacated, and soon become the new home that Grendel created. Don't hurt me. Don't hurt me. Gotta have my coffee. Don't hurt me. It's Grendel. Alright, Grendel. While you're there, please don't hurt me. Please don't tear me apart like you tore apart all those Danes in Herat. That was super scary until, Beowulf, he's gonna come and save the day. But I must ask you some questions. I must, because I'm a TV talk show host, and even if I'm scared to death by you and want more coffee, I still must ask you some questions, because that's my job. So, Grendel, I hear you're a flesh-eating demon. Why are you so angry all the time? Are you going to say anything else? Or are you just going to sit there and roar and gargle and... Are you worried about fighting Beowulf? I mean, that's a big thing. He's a strong, powerful warrior. I mean, he's like not human, but he is human. But like Superman human. I mean, are you worried? You make me so scared. I gotta drink more coffee. Alright, just sit there. Don't harm me. Don't harm me. You're making me really, really scared right now, but I feel like, if I move any more, I'm gonna be off camera, and that's not good. So, so many people say you're like Gollum, the Grinch, or Randy from Monsters, Inc. But how do you feel about them calling you these names? I mean, those aren't two friendly creatures. I mean, they're we know you're the descendant of Cain, the story Cain and Abel. They even mention in Beowulf that you're from Cain himself, the evil guy who killed his brother and was punished by God. We know you're descended from him, but, What do you feel about all these accusations? They're not very nice. And please don't hurt me. Wow, it looks like you're a very big eater, aren't you? Yeah, I mean, what are you eating there? It's like a weird cereal brand, Anglo-Jacks. I mean, is that some kind of lame ripoff of Apple Jacks? I mean, that's so strange. But I'm glad you're eating that and not eating me, because I'm just a talk show host, and I don't need this kind of stress. And this is my lovely mead hall, and I don't need you ruining it. And I really want to live to drink another cup of coffee, so please don't harm me. I know you don't talk much, but I feel I need to get it out there because I'm a talk show host. So let me ask you this question. So, John Gardner, he wrote a book about a different side of you. He said psychologically, he implied psychologically that you were different, and he tried to make his readers feel sorry for you. So I'm caught between what he says about, a lonely, upset Grendel and the Grendel who terrorizes and destroys and eats other humans. Okay, so I'm a little bit troubled by that second part, but I think there might be another side to you. So, I must ask: is it really your troubled past that made you this way? So, are you going to stop making gargling noises, Grendel? I'm going to, try to grab that cereal box from you, but better not, because you'll start grabbing at me, and I don't need that. So, will you stop making gargling noises? It's very, very annoying, but anyway, I understand. I do hope that you please leave me in peace. I'm just a talk show host. There you go. He's getting up. He's leaving. He must love that box of cereal. I think he's running off with it, which is weirdly ripped off box of cereal for Apple Jacks. Anyway, but I see him leaving. Okay, bye, Grendel. Please don't come back here. Leave me in peace. Please leave me in peace. I don't need this stress. I don't need this monster. I need my coffee. That's all I need, but I don't need you terrorizing my place, so thank you. Oh, man, thank you for leaving. That was very worrisome, and having a monster like Grendel come into my home, or my basement, or my meat hall, whatever you want to call it, and coming here and nearly eating me, but thankfully, he had his box of Anglo-Jacks and was eating it, and I've got my coffee, so that's the one thing keeping me afloat right now. So, keeping me calm, keeping me ready. So, that being said, I think we're going to see a little bit of Beowulf now, for real. Not this time where we had Grendel. I mean, that was kind of a monster. I mean, we need to see Beowulf. He's going to slay Grendel, so it's important that we talk to him and see if he can actually come with this feat of defeating Grendel. Okay? Because tough task. Grendel's a tough monster. Even though you'll see he's not as strong as the other monsters Beowulf fights, like Grendel's mother, which Beowulf nearly loses when his shield breaks and his sword doesn't work against her, and the dragon, which ultimately leads to Beowulf's death. And but still, we see Grendel as a force. It's a force for Beowulf. So He's going to fight Grendel, and we're going to hear firsthand account of that. So stick with us. Anglo-Jacks. Anglo-Jacks. It's a cereal that's packed. A monster snack. A monster snack. In many shapes and sizes. Oats and marshmallows. Even fun prizes. Yay! There's the Jutes in many suits, the Anglos added into the tango, and then there's Saxons in the form of the Jacksons. You can't go wrong with all these Old English factions. So come and have a bowl of these peeps, just like the lonely monsters who need a treat. This new cereal can't be beat. The Anglo-Jacks. The Anglo-Jacks. Every monster's favorite snack. See, Grendel looks happy. Now try our special edition superhero flavor featuring tons of humanoid-shaped superheroes. Every monster's dream come true. Frosted toasted oat cereal with marshmallows. Monsters approved. I can finally say I live for another day of coffee, which is great, you know. If I didn't have the coffee, who knows what. Anyway, we're going to have Beowulf coming in, so I think I see him coming in right now. Come in, my warrior Beowulf. Come and take a seat. Take a seat, my friend. Be great to have you here. Let's give him a round of applause. A round of applause.
They gather by the fire to talk about a hero that has come before them. A true demon killer ready to take on a challenge like no other. But can he truly be the one they speak about in this prophecy? Or is it just a fallacy? Could it be the answer to our world, conquest, the survival of our language? We may never know for sure. Look, if you had one story about one guy with strength so brute and so much pride that he could make Godzilla cry, then savor him for once. Let us rely, because he might be the only way for us to survive.
I'm the lone hero whom the Anglo-Saxons surmise. I've been summoned to come out from the hide, straight from the lost archipelagos and deep archives, with a burning passion within me, deep inside. I'm the archetype of superhero stride, who's come to change the game at its highest ride. Honestly, I'm the only one you can confide. Through every oligarchy of different kinds, despite what the naysayers said with all those lies, my power is too much for the demographers to see eye to eye. I've come to ambush the anarchy that monsters devise, grabbing fame, treasure, and peace each opportunity at a time. The years and years of archaic ways must be denied. Whether you say I'm true or against the tide, it doesn't matter what you contrive. In the end, it's the monsters or your life. Don't think me a demagogue, don't deny, because the truth is, failure is not an option of mine. It's time to grab Grendel by the arms. He's mine. Those evil demons are way out of line. Time to vanquish them and glorify the sacred land. We bring peace, we fortify. It's time to grab Grendel by the arms. He's mine. Those evil demons, they're way out of line. Time to vanquish them and glorify the sacred land. We bring peace, we fortify. Now that I've gotten amplified, my journey's magnified. I'm here to stop endemic monsters who reside. They're an aggregation set to divide egregious demons who need to be fried before they become pandemic. Take the world and capitalize. No matter whether you hate or like, my icon thrives. Good or bad, holy or cursed, treasure or glory, we can't deprive. My iconoclastic ways will slay the monsters snide. There's no dying, saying I tried. It's either win now or evil collides, bringing about cruelty, anger, our demise. We can't let the monsters chide. So people, listen, let me be your guide. Put down your swords and shields, let's compromise. Put our differences aside. Maybe in the end we'll find we're gregarious allies. Our land, my men, my power and strength, we must abide if we have any means to survive. It is time for conquest to glorify, to save the world and stay alive. Join me in this conquest. We'll say goodbye to all the monsters and demons and their terrible outcries. Believe in me, Danes. Through power and glory we will rise, and follow me, we will revise. Set the demons aside, purify, forever will be peace in this land I now call mine. Let's go. It's time to take Grendel down. It's time to bring peace to the land of the Danes. Follow me, I'm Beowulf. It's time for us to take charge and win and beat Grendel. It's time this monster is gone forever. For hurrah! Let's go! Alright, Beowulf, it's great to have you on my show here. I'm going to ask you a series of questions. I mean, first of all, let me tell you, we just had a very rare Grendel sighting. He actually came and sat right in that chair, and it's kind of a sight to see. I know you probably don't believe me, but I know that you're out hunting the guy, so anyway, you know, I just want to talk to you. I know you're a strong warrior. It's great to have you here, and you know, let's get started. All right. So Beowulf, my first question of the day. What is the significance of your name? You know, I mean, a lot of people hear Beowulf, but again, we have that Germanic name, so it's kind of hard to understand. So what's the significance of your name?
Beowulf. The name, it's up for debate, of course, through translations, but many people think Beowulf, Beo meaning bear, and wolf meaning wolf. Two very strong animals to talk about a very strong warrior as myself. But others think it means war wolf. Beo is war, and then wolf. So either way you look at it, they all looked at me as a strong, powerful warrior who is ready to fight. That's where my name comes from. Beowulf. It's just very much influenced by Old English.
Oh, that's really insightful. I definitely agree. I really appreciate you telling us that. You know, it gives us a little more insight into what, you know, a Germanic name is and how it relates to language today. Excellent. So let me ask you the next question. What inspired you to start hunting monsters?
So what inspired me to want to fight monsters and demons? Well, I'll tell you, three main reasons. One, I hated seeing my men fail. I hated seeing them all die, you know. This is not the way it should be. You know, man defeats evil, and I don't like seeing my men die. So that was reason number one. Reason number two, of course, I love the treasure. Treasure is great, you know. Getting recognition is great. Getting prizes is great. And you always want to get those prizes for defeating the monsters. That's always another good thing. Getting conquests, new lands, also great. And then, of course, number three is getting the fame and recognition and growing as a powerful warrior. So, you know, you're never going to get better unless you fight in a real battle like I did against Grendel. And so, thus, all of these are my three main reasons that I like to battle monsters and hunt them out and defeat them.
Well, we all know you want to test your power and strength. I mean, you are the great Beowulf, so I must ask, why, you know, we know you're strong and powerful, but why did you travel all the way to the Netherlands to risk death by fighting Grendel? I mean, Grendel is not just a typical fight. This was something that's, you know, a demon that's powerful, that's strong, and that was ready to tear people apart and attack people, and you just come and say, hey, I'm gonna destroy this monster. I mean, how could you do that? That's like preposterous.
You know, I never believed I would die when I traveled to the Netherlands to fight Grendel, you know. God was always with me. He gave me the strength and power to succeed, and the warriors appreciated that. They wanted me to defeat Grendel, and so it's, you know, I felt it was just meant to be. I'm a strong warrior. I had the passion and drive to do it, and I wanted to bring goodness to the land.
So let me ask, you care about looking cool more than, you know, spreading good faith and helping others? Is that what it comes down to?
You know, the Anglo-Saxons and the Danes and Geats and all of us, we love heroes, and we appreciate strong fighters and warriors no matter what. So, you know, the fact that they didn't think I was crazy when I said I defeated Grendel, the fact that they supported me and went with it and showed that they had my support and I had their support, and it was great because they gave me the confidence to defeat Grendel. Of course, all except Unferth, who was this loser who talked about me in a swimming match, which was all completely wrong. But the point is that I was powerful, and they counted on me to defeat Grendel, and they didn't think I was crazy. They supported me.
So would you say that's a little more pagan than Christian? I mean, you know, you're very bold and overconfident, so would you happen to say that you fall more in the pagan side of things than Christian? Because remember, your book is very much, well, the book you're in anyway, the book, I call it the book, the epic poem, the story of Beowulf is very much a juxtaposed Christianity and paganism, and those two don't really go on par with each other, but we see them together in your epic poem. So I must ask, you know, do you feel more pagan?
You know, God made me the hero I am. He gave me the strength to succeed, and it's my duty to use that strength to prove myself and to save the world.
You know, being bold and overconfident isn't exactly Christian, Beowulf.
You know, Mr. Phelps, I know you keep on going on with this hubris thing and thinking I'm overconfident, but the Danes supported me. They wanted me to defeat Grendel, whether that's pagan or Christian, I don't know what you call it, but I was well supported, they appreciated it, and God helped me out in the end, and I defeated those monsters.
Well, you show both paganism and Christianity, whether you know you do or not. Maybe it's very 5th, 6th century at that time, I don't know, but it is kind of odd that you're in the middle there and that you suppose that you have both religion. And do you ever think that your hubris might be getting in the way, that you don't realize you're being too overconfident and arrogant? You don't realize that's un-Christian-like, but you really are? Ever thought about that?
Never! God has aided me in defeating monsters, and the monsters will never win, because good always defeats evil. And that's the moral of the story.
But Beowulf, you must understand, there comes a time where the desire to fight becomes more than the desire to spread peace. And that's what you're coming down to. You want to fight more than you actually want to spread peace in the world. I mean, you want that star and fame, you want that fame, and you're asking for that more than you're asking to actually save the world from the Danes. I mean, that's what it's coming down to.
Look, I'm a fighter. I'm always going to fight and defend my position and defeat evil, no matter what position I'm in. That's just who I am.
So Beowulf, have you ever thought about boxing or fencing or some way to show your strength without, you know, trying to kill monsters? I mean, monsters is just so damaging, and you don't have to kill monsters every time. I mean, like, you know, that's not the only option.
No, I never even heard of those recreational activities. Boxing and fencing. They must be too modern for me. Remember, I lived in the 5th and 6th century a long time ago. We didn't even have those. We just had fighting.
I mean, pretty soon you're going to come across a dragon, which you don't have to fight and slay, but you do it because you want the treasure. And let's be honest here, you don't really need that treasure, so think about it. I mean, you know, you can do this in a different way. You can box and fence, or you can do whatever you want, but it's apparent you do this stuff for the treasure, and you don't necessarily need to do that.
A warrior can still love treasure. There's nothing wrong with that, Mr. Phelps. Let me tell you, there is nothing wrong with that.
So Beowulf, I must ask, what's your favorite song? What's your favorite type of music? I mean, I think I already know, because I saw a video of you sharing in the celebration of slaying a monster, and you had some pretty cool music going on there, and I think the audience wants to hear. What do we think? Excellent, excellent. So whether you want me to or not, I'm going to show this video just because the audience definitely seems involved, and we can kind of analyze that after we show it. So let's get to it.
check the mic and make sure it sound right, boys.
Well, I do like to make myself be the champion, but that's true, you know. That's what happened in Herat when I defeated Grendel and Grendel's mother. We had a big celebration, and we celebrated that I was the champion and I was the victor. You know, good things lead to good consequences, as God proposes. And you may think it's overconfident, Mr. Phelps, but honestly, that demon had to be defeated, and I went and I showed my strength to do it.
So, Beowulf, I know I got a glimpse of him earlier, but what would you classify Grendel as? I mean, you know, some people say he's like Godzilla, some people say he's like Bigfoot. I mean, I even got a shot of him here. I saw him, but, you know, it's hard to tell what exactly he is. So, how would you tell us what he looks like, you know?
Let me tell you, there's a lot of rumors about what Grendel actually looks like, and there's a lot of pictures floating around and things like that. But I actually saw him, and I only saw him once in the dark, so it's hard for me to tell you, but a lot of people think he is Godzilla or he's Bigfoot or a cross between the two, and they're kind of right. I mean, he does have traits from those, but he's his own creature too. He's just a demon, an ugly demon who has claws as sharp as a dragon, but is kind of like a Bigfoot too. So he's just this big demon, and you know, I got a quick picture of him, but it was hard to see in the dark. So I defeated him, but I had to trust in God, and I had to just use my hands because my blade didn't really work. So I was using my hands against him, and you know, that seemed to work because I had enough muscle in my arm, and that's always good when you get years of training. But let me show you a little souvenir. I have Grendel's head right here. I defeated him. I'm going to hang it up and show my honor and glory for defeating him.
He definitely looks like a demon of some sort. You know, I definitely see your point. He's very hard to classify as to what he is, but definitely kind of looks like a cross between Bigfoot, Godzilla. Hard to classify. I certainly see your point there, Beowulf.
You know, I put it up there as a souvenir just to show that I am the Grendel killer. Pretty impressive, isn't it? I thought so.
Anyway, you know, for the next question. Do you consider yourself a superhero? You know, like the Marvel comics, you see superheroes in comics. Do you consider yourself to be like one of them, like Spider-Man or Batman or something like that, you know? Or Iron Man. I mean, do you consider yourself like a superhero who saves the day every time? I don't know. We'll see. What do you think?
So I've never heard of these other superheroes you talk about, but let me tell you, I am a human. I just have superhuman strength. So if you want to make a comic book about me, then that's great and all, but I am a super powerful human that no other human can do what I did to Grendel here. It just never happened. What classifies a superhero? Is it somebody who has different kind of strength, or somebody who, you know, is powerful in their own way, or whatever classifies it? I guess you could say I'm a superhero.
I have one last question for you. The question of the day. The question of the day is, how strong are you? You know, how much can you bench? Can you show us, like, how muscular you are? Because you're pretty strong, and I know you defeated this Grendel with just your hands. I mean, that's pretty impressive when no one else could even puncture him with a sword. So, can you show us how strong you are? I mean, I really want to know.
Certainly. I'll show you my strength routine, how I go through each living day. Even though I'm the strongest human on the earth, and the strongest human that ever lived, and the superhuman, I still train every day to make myself stronger, because that's just who I am, and I need to become even stronger to defeat those monsters. So, I want to thank you for having me on the show, Mr. Phelps, and I'm going to go and I'm going to show you my strength routine, and you can watch and see how I do it. Alright? Let's go. Task number 1, lifting. Alright, I'll show you my true strength. Rolling up the sleeves, gonna lift this. Man, I wish I could have lifted it even higher, but I know just what to do. When you want to do even better, you get dumbbells and start training your arms. Lift them up, lift them up. Oh yeah. Got my arms, training my arms, making them nice and strong. This will make me lift that table even higher. Task number 2, push-ups and sit-ups. Alright, let's get to it. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 120, 121, 501, 502. And now sit-ups. Alright, sit-ups. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. 1,020, 1,021, 5,050, 5,051. Oh man, takes a lot of training and a lot of brute strength. That's how I do my push-ups and sit-ups. Task number 3, treadmill. Alright guys, this is how I build my endurance up. This is how I get faster and faster. If you ever see any monsters that are super fast or sea monsters, you know, when I battled Grendel's mother, I had to go in the sea, and it was pretty difficult until I could defeat her, but I came out making it look easy, and that's all because of this endurance that I gained from doing this treadmill. You know, I go super fast, build it up till no one can catch me, and I'm the fastest person in the world. That's why they call me Beowulf. You know, super fast. Build that endurance up, baby. Build it up. Alright, that's how I become the almighty powerful Beowulf. Task number 4, practicing field battle. Alright, so this is an important skill too, people. You gotta practice. Gotta practice your swordsmanship. And then guard. Nothing's getting by me. I guess I should try fencing. I heard it's a lot like this. Lord. See, you know, I defeated Grendel's mother with a shield like this, and I had to break my shield against her. But you know what? I got a new shield, and this one's much harder to break. And so, you practice. Task number 5, meditation and prayer. So the final task is meditating. Breathe in, breathe out. Let your body relax. Let your body relax and your inner body become soothed. And then, if you must, pray as well. Pray that you know that good defeats evil and that you will be victorious. This is the final step. Where the other steps are about physical strength, this one is about body strength and making yourself strong in the body so that you have the confidence to succeed. Well, hello everyone. Glad to see you back. It's been an eventful show.
We not only saw Beowulf, but we saw Grendel, and I don't think anyone even expected that. But he was here, sitting right here. Of course, that was until Beowulf slayed him. Anyway, we've had a long show, and just to sum it up, I want to thank you all for watching, and we'll see you next time on the Mr. Phelps Show. Thank you, thank you. Really appreciate it. Oh, forgot the coffee. Can't forget the coffee. Better get going now. Thank you. Thank you all.